Hold on a minute, let me just make this more appropriate. There we go. Hey guys, how's it going? Dude here, I am back with another video. In today's video, we're going to be looking at an incredible theory about Stranger Things Season 4, Volume 2. It was emailed to me by a viewer called Braxton. It is incredible, and unfortunately, it's a really strong theory as to why Steve is going to die. Without further ado, guys, if you subscribed, you've liked, and you shared this video, let's head over to the reaction studio and let's dive into this theory, shall we? Okay, so here is the theory from Braxton. He emailed this to me. I've copied and pasted the email into a notepad to preserve, his email address and all that sort of stuff. But here we go, okay? Hello, Rhino. I apologise for not leaving this on one of your YouTube videos in the comment section, but this is very lengthy theory. I came across your theory videos this past week while researching for some of my own. I'm an amateur writer and a huge book, film and TV buff, as well as always having a curious mind and loving puzzles as a kid. With having all of that in my history, I have a lot of theories on books, games, TV and film series that spring to mind. I don't normally share them because I don't normally have a complete breakdown and a path to be able to explain them. However, I wanted to share one that I had while watching through Volume 1. I have several others, but this is the most completed one, having talking points and facts to back up the theory and the easiest one to break down with typed words. I hope that you enjoy. Let's begin, shall we? Mental and psychological impacting events and characters affected. This theory isn't in regards to the series as a whole, but more towards the remaining 2 episodes and potential character impact for Season 5. Well, Braxton, that's exactly what we want. First, we must cover the reasoning and points that lead up to this theory. This involves the series' entirety as a whole up to this point. Then cover those characters who have not yet had their impacting event, along with the potential impactful event and what it could mean for the final season. Looking at the series starting from the beginning, knowing that this series is inspired by the amazing films and stories created in the 80s, we have to analyse events that happened with some of those. All of the film series that these Stranger Things has been influenced on have a very specific aspect in common that drives the series into its next story. The remaining psychological impact on the primary characters after the completion of the film. Knowing that, let's look at the psychological effect that our protagonists have dealt with in this series. The Byers family is obviously the first and main focus of these traumatic events, with the very first being the disappearance of Will. Joyce and Jonathan both start to break down in the first episode from Will's disappearance, Joyce most of all, checking out and practically forgetting about Jonathan altogether once she discovers Will is missing. Even when everyone else believes him to be dead, she is adamant that her son is alive, which causes everyone to believe that she may have lost her mind. The effect this has on her after finding him at the end of Season 1 shows throughout Season 2, along with the death of Bob Newby, rest in peace, oh Bob, and Will being treated differently by his mother, friends and other residents of Hawkins throughout Season 2, followed by supposed loss of Hopper, bringing her to eventually move her family across the country to California at the end of Season 3. The Wheelers. Nancy and Mike don't have as many experiences, or so it seems at first glance. Nancy losing Barb at the end of episode 2, the weirdo on Maple Street, believing her lost and ultimately discovering the death of her best friend, affecting her throughout Season 2, even going as far as to discover a cover story thanks to Jonathan and Murray Bauman. Don't know if he's going to make it out of Season 4. To get closure to Barb's family at the end of Season 2. Resolving that traumatic event, or so we thought, until the end of Volume 1. Mike's experiences haven't been as obvious as the rest of the previous characters. He's starting with the end of Season 1 and the belief of Elle's death, causing his curt behaviour and refusal to accept Max into the party throughout Season 2. followed up with his best friend going missing and then being possessed by the Mind Flayer, ending in the separation and long-distance relationship with his girlfriend at the Season 3 finale. This doesn't seem like too bad since Mike takes a trip to California at the start of the Season 4 until you take into consideration the realization that Elle has been lying to him for the last 6 months and thinking that he is the reason for Elle not having him accompany her to regain her powers. He has several events and has kept him on a roller coaster of emotions. So far, the Byers family, emotional trauma, check. The Wheelers, emotional trauma, check. What's next? Hopper and Elle have been involved with every aspect of the previous experiences save a few individual ones that we don't find out more about until Season 4. Hopper's first traumatic experience was before the events of Season 1 with the loss of his daughter, Sarah, and the separation of his ex-wife. We see these effects throughout the series, but it doesn't seem to be as life-altering as the other characters because we don't see how he was before the loss. It's not until the end of Season 3 in the heart-to-heart that he had attempted to have with Elle and Mike that we see the barriers that he had been living behind. Season 4 is when we start to see this full effect. Hopper explaining the entire story of his lost daughter to Enzo, who, by the way, I'm a big fan of Enzo, and his belief that he is the cancer to all of those around him. Elle's experiences are pretty parallel to Hopper's in regards to timeline. We first find out that she has been experimented on from the time she was born till she escaped. Then, feeling as if she is imprisoned throughout Season 2, unable to go outside or contact her friends. With the loss of Hopper, her powers, and moving across the country at the end of Season 3, to make the trauma even worse, we are shown the events from 1979 where she believes she killed all of the other child experiments and then repressing them, when in actuality it wasn't too far off what really happened. The ultimate truth being that she was manipulated by the orderly Henry/001/Vecna to remove the soteria, allowing him to regain his powers, killing off the other children and wanting Elle to join him in his ultimate plan. It also shows the reason why Elle believes she was the one to open the portal to the Upside Down. Max. We see right from the beginning that she is emotionally and mentally abused by Billy, who himself was abused by his father from a young age. When his mother abandoned him, she finally confronts Billy and escapes his abuse at the end of Season 2, only for her to see the brutal death of him as he saves Elle from the Mind Flayer in the final episode of Season 3, leading up to the events in Season 4 and her emotional and physical separation from her friends and emotions. Yeah, she becomes very distant from the whole group, doesn't she? We come face to face with the real traumatic effect that previous season's finale actually had on her, where she blames herself for Billy's death and feeling that she secretly wanted him gone because of how he treated her, causing her to be at the mercy of Vecna's curse. Let me just move up here as we go into the final couple of paragraphs, and this is where the theory comes together. Now that we have covered the background and those affected up to this point, let's go over those that haven't had their experiences yet and where the main part of the theory comes into play. Steve has had a lot of serious experiences, but none that meet the criteria of the aforementioned characters. None of the experiences have affected his mental or physical behaviours in any other seasons. He has had an emotional rollercoaster throughout the seasons, but with the small hints being dropped about his feelings towards Nancy and Season 4 about its conclusion, his events will be appearing shortly. So what is going to be Steve's big emotional experience? Lucas is in the same position as Steve, nothing too altering as of yet. However, in Season 4, we do see him having these personality/behavioural changes, showing with him not sure where he belongs and the effect of Max pulling away from him. Taking that into consideration, his event is one of the least likely to happen since he has had the small problems this month. Robin is a newer character being introduced in Season 3. She'll most likely will not have a huge event happen to her with her being so new, but also going through her character's arc with her sexuality this season. Dustin seems to be the most likely character to have the most traumatic experience in the final 2 episodes of Season 4.
His most directly traumatic experience has been with Dart back in Season 2. Dustin was described as the cleric of their party by Mike back in Season 2. He is the most knowledgeable character of both scientific facts and has the closest grasp of how the Upside Down works. Now, on the final part of the theory and how it will impact. With having 4 leading characters still not going through their experience, there are 3 characters that would cause each of the remaining 4 to be affected. We will start with the most unlikely and work our way up. Erica either dying or being taken by the Mind Flayer or into the Upside Down at the end of this season would affect Lucas throughout the final season. However, she will not be involved in the event since she seems to only be involved in the story enough to help in certain circumstances, and since she was the one to finish off Vecna during episode 1 in the Hellfire Club. That fact there does make me think somehow Erica, for some reason, may be the one to land the killing blow on Vecna. Now, I feel like they wouldn't do that because I feel like Erica killing Vecna is like Arya Stark killing the Night King when it should have been Jon Snow, i.e. it should be Elle. Elle is Jon Snow, Erica is Arya Stark, Vecna is the Night King. Please don't repeat the mistake of Game of Thrones, is all I'll say on that. Max is also an unlikely option for something to happen to since she has been experiencing most of the psychological impact from the previous season. If something were to happen to her, it would only be in for the form of death. This would affect Lucas and Dustin with their close relationship to Max, and Steve since he is, in his words, always the babysitter. Here we go. The paragraph I didn't want to read. Steve is the most likely choice for something to happen to him. Back in the final episode of Season 2, Steve states that I may have been a pretty shitty boyfriend, but as it turns out, I make a goddamn good babysitter. Most likely, Steve will meet his end by the final credits of Season 4 finale. This would affect the group as a whole, seeing as he has been so integral since the beginning. Anything happening to Steve would affect the entire group, however, it would be most devastating to 3 characters. Nancy with the small hints of their feelings starting to resurface, Robin with their friendship itself becoming so close and being each other's confidant. The biggest effect this would have on any character is Dustin. Dustin and Steve had been joined at the hip for almost every event thus far, and they have an almost brotherly bond. Not only would this affect Dustin in a large way, but it would ultimately set the stage for a group as a whole to be at its lowest during Season 5. Dustin would be so distraught, lost, and would lose his mindset towards any hope. He would feel as if he could have done something differently to save Steve and blaming himself for his lack of predicting something avoidable, causing the group to lose any advantage they had going into Season 5, Dustin being on the edge of an emotional breakdown. The group would have to help rally everybody and break Dustin out of his funk in order to get their cleric back and find the way to stop the Mind Flayer once and for all. I know this may be a stretch as far as theories go and may seem too obvious of a path for the show to go in, but it is one of the detailed and easily explained theories with supporting details to storyline history I have come to. I was emailed this, I read it, and I just thought, yeah, 100%, I can see it. You know, the big traumatic events of the previous characters, there are a few that still haven't had them. Dustin being the main one. I mean, yes, he lost his friend Will too. But obviously Mike is like is Will's best friend, and it's just Steve and Dustin. I really don't want Steve to die, but I just think the more that I read this theory, read other theories, I just think Steve. You see the interviews where they're saying like there's going to be deaths. Steve or Dustin would be the big ones, but I think they wouldn't kill both of them, because the damage that one death would do to the other. But also Steve being that protective kind of babysitter figure, to lose him, the group is vulnerable then. You know, they have Hopper, or do they? Does he get back from Russia? But yeah, I just love how this was laid out, articulated, and it's got me convinced that Steve's gonna sacrifice himself for the group, for Nancy, for Dustin, to be the best babysitter ever, to die for the babies he is sitting. I hope it's wrong, but I think it's right, and they're the best ones, aren't they? God, Braxton, well done, mate. Fantastic. Give Braxton some love in the comments, please. He deserves it. And yeah, here's another theory video for you. I'm really enjoying these. They're doing so well. So they're going to keep on coming. It's bonus content, you know what I mean? I'm not sacking out the regular videos for these. This is bonus content because I'm enjoying it, you're enjoying it, everyone's enjoying it. And we've got till July the 1st to fill with Stranger Things goodies. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe. I'm so close, I don't know if you've noticed, to 100k. I'm 1,100 subscribers away. It's been a dream in the making for the last 10 years. And yeah, so if you like Stranger Things, if you like horror, if you like the paranormal, true crime, conspiracy, those kind of things, this is the place for you. So hit that subscribe button and yeah, like as well. Leave your theories down below. They might appear in a video soon. I'll see you very soon. Sweet one. Peace.